We borrow books from libraries like this in their thousands. It's a service we expect. Now, in a move to bolster its finances, the council here in Bournemouth is going to lend money. The council's not joking, but it's raised a smile at this laughter workshop in Southbourne. The community centre's having the last laugh after the banks turned them away. Instead, the local authority stepped in.
Initially, I did what most people would do, and I went to the high street banks, and the level of service offered was a remote phone call rather than a face-to-face meeting. They expected an awful lot of hoops to be jumped through in order to meet their criteria rather than them seeing the viability of my business proposition.
How much did you want to borrow?
Not very much, £5,000.
And you were turned down?
I was turned down. The council actually came to me and said, we've got something you can apply for, a start-up grant scheme. So they saved my bacon.
After months of talking to the public, Bournemouth Borough Council will be offering business loans of up to £10,000 this winter and mortgages to the value of £150,000 in the new year. It could be the first step to setting up a local bank.
I don't think the council thinks it can do a better job. I think the council thinks that it can do a job that the high street banks aren't currently doing. And actually we need to support our community by moving into that space because of the problems that people are having in our community around accessing finance for their own personal mortgage needs and accessing business finance.
Bournemouth wants to take £15 million from its council reserves, set up a private company and start lending. The money earned would be used to mitigate the impact of any further cuts from central government.
We have obviously been modelling different scenarios. My view is that we've been extremely prudent actually on potential default rates and provision for bad debts, and it's still providing better value to the taxpayer even if we do have the odd default.
Councils have always invested taxpayers' money. Trouble is, we've had a sluggish economy and interest rates are at rock bottom. That's seen the money the council makes steadily fall. The best interest rate it can get on the markets is 0.8%. On £15 million, that would bring in just £120,000 a year. According to the forecasts, after 10 years, the same investment in a local bank would bring in an annual return of £8 million. If they get it right, the council's finances could have a much brighter outlook. Bournemouth, like other local authorities, is sitting on millions of pounds. At no extra cost to the taxpayer, they want that money to work harder, supporting services and the local economy.
We are diversifying our investment activity to get the best financial return for the taxpayer. What we're not doing is exposing that investment to any greater risk than we currently run in more traditional treasury management terms anyway.
Would you put your money into that sort of bank?
I don't know, yeah, I think, OK, just give them a go.
Well, the surf rate didn't work, so I would prefer if Bournemouth Council would spend their money on something that's for the kids.
I would need to read what they had in offer. A canny Scot.
Borrowing money like this might sound funny in principle, but if the sums add up, the idea could catch on. The joke could well be at the expense of the banks. Alistair Fee, BBC South Today.
Well, Councillor Michael Filer is a Bournemouth Conservative councillor. He's also a cabinet member and nominated to be one of the board of directors of the council bank. Thank you very much for coming in. Can we just talk about the expertise that you have? You are a retired chartered accountant. We know the officers have got financial experience and expertise, but what about the staff? Because they're not used to be working in a bank and they're dealing with public money.
That's quite right, but everything will be monitored so closely and there'll be rules and regulations that security will be taken, and across the board there should be no problems at all with senior staff who will be dealing with this. So
there's got to be an element of training there, hasn't there?
Absolutely,
proper training.
Yes.
Can we talk about what about the council taxpayers of Bournemouth? Because they haven't been asked about this, have they, in any way? Should a council be doing this, do you think? And what guarantees do they have that the money, their money, is in safe hands?
Well, first of all, you'll have seen a few minutes ago on the film how the £15 million that's being looked at, that's in reserves at the moment, is bringing in negligible return. Yeah. And the aim overall is to ensure safety and to maximise the return. We've had to go right across the board in local government to ensure that there's efficiency savings, maximum returns, while...
But what would those council taxpayers get back if it was successful, if you were making more money?
Well, they'd be getting something like £7 million
How does that equate? That doesn't mean anything to sort of, you know, for example, if I lived down, that wouldn't mean anything to me. Is that services or is that council tax payments going down?
That's council tax payments going down.
Right.
Overall, year after year, the government is cutting the amount of money it gives to local councils, and it's insisting that the only way that the councils can survive is by making savings and economies.
Now,
and this would be part of the savings and economies.
Can we just talk about the surf reef, because that was a fiasco. There was millions put into that. Why would the people of Dorset, why would they trust you with this money again?
Well, of course, the surf reef was a disappointment and it didn't go as planned. But strangely, it's become a catalyst to the whole of Boscombe seafront area, which is now winning awards, attracting tens of thousands of people to all sorts of entertainments and all sorts of activities there. It's a coastal activity park now. It's had a grant from the government. It's the first one in the country. So
they can trust you?
Accidentally, they can trust us. And don't forget, any money that's lent will have proper security.
Councillor Michael Filer, thank you so much for coming in this evening, explaining more to us, and there's a lot more for the future, of course, I know.